Ladies, gentlemen, Gungans, droids across our beloved empire and our beloved citizens of Alderaan, welcome to today's video. Thank you for spending the time with me today, where I'm feeling just a little bit ranty when it comes to Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Let me just say this. I haven't had a lot to complain about. Of course, the usual gear grind problems, make the blueprints double for ships, just like the character shards. Pretty much the standard 101 things when it comes to Galaxy Heroes problems. But more or less, the game, in my opinion, has been in a great spot, especially compared to previous years. However, I want to rant a little bit about Conquest. As you see, we got two accounts. We got the free-to-play account over to the right, my first free-to-play Conquest, and I also have the other extreme with the complete endgame hard mode Conquest. And feel free to put me in my place if you guys want down below or agree with me. I just have some complaints about Conquest that I hope can get resolved very easy. I think there's a very easy solution to these concerns I have. Let me know down below. But the reason why I bring this up is because Conquest was the game mode when it came out that shook other games like Strike Force, Raid Shadow Legends, and other similar games of the genre that wanted to implement a Conquest system. However, with this most recent season of Conquest that came changes, I just want to vent some frustrations to make sure Conquest doesn't turn into a boring chore of a grind. And of course, one of the biggest things is obviously deployable cooling systems, rest in pepperoni, got removed from Conquest here. And it really, I feel personally, taking out deployable cooling systems took away some of the magic that was involved with Conquest this past the previous seasons here. However, there is an upside here. I've been following the discussion very closely in our community here. There is an upside with Conquest removing deployable cooling systems. It's leading us to experiment. I say that lightly. We'll talk about why I'm doing air quotes there. Experiment with other data cards, and deployable cooling systems was a very broken combo, of course. However, I think we're still running into some issues with the game mode losing a little bit of its magic, which is leading to a lot of people not really enjoying it as much. Now, of course, this might be anecdotal. You guys let me know down below. I feel like we're pretty positive, you and I, that come across in our Kyber Club and hang out. I feel like we're positive, but I am noticing people feeling like Conquest is turning into a chore. It's too difficult, and there's just too much guessing going on with the game. And I think this comment nails it on the head right here. Hermit the Droid. This, I think, is the, if you want to quickly get my response to how we can maybe just fix this and at least get back on track to the fun before, this right here from Hermit the Droid: can't swap out data discs without hurting your rewards, so no actual testing allowed. New discs are basically useless except the green, blue, and Trent looked into only using our fastest, best tunes that stand a chance in the middle end of Sector 3 onward. BS feats designed with DCS in mind, deployable cooling systems added, but no adjustments made to the feats after removing the data disc. This, I think, nails everything on the head. Let's go ahead and run some gameplay in the background of my Sector 4 run of hard mode Conquest here. I think that nails this all on the head right now. Now, you guys, of course, feel free to let me know what you guys are feeling in regards to all this. But I think that is the main problem here, because the Conquest shipment has become probably one of the most lucrative shipments in the game. It's got Commander Ahsoka Tano, which looks to be like a real deal character. Of course, testing will tell us otherwise. And then we have the Razor Crest in there. And of course, there are things like the other gear. If you're not really chasing out the Razor Crest or Commander Ahsoka Tano, you might be relying on getting gear to work towards your other character shards and grinds you might be working towards. But then this is the problem here. With this becoming such a valuable shipment, and put a card in the top right hand corner, just the other day we did a pretty extensive math testing on the budgeting. If you want to go for Commander Ahsoka Tano, for example, you do not have a lot of wiggle room to experiment with Conquest, and that is the magic I feel like that is being pulled away because of how lucrative this shipment is. Maybe we're not getting enough Conquest credits, and the fact that really at the end of the day, you only have very little room. No matter what path you're going down with that shipment, whether Commander Tano, Razor Crest, or gearing up characters, you have only this little window of room to waste tickets on swapping data cards around. Now, there's a couple other problems I feel like we can maybe address a little bit here, but I think that right there is the biggest kicker that I hope Capital Games addresses in the upcoming Conquest seasons here, because really, firstly, there's a lot of randomness that comes to these data cards. So you're just kind of working with what you have when you come across them, which is fine. Nothing wrong with kind of starting off with a weaker data card disc, but eventually as you progress, and let's say you already got 12 data, you already filled up your 12 slots, and all of a sudden now you're starting to get the good ones, Man, it hurts to all of a sudden start peeling off all these data discs one by one, and they cost 10 Conquest credits per removal. I think especially now, I was fine with it a little bit before Commander Tano, Razor Crest kind of came to the picture, but now that we have Commander Tano and Razor Crest and people are trying to gear up at the same time, it's taken away the fun of experimenting with these data discs. I would like to play around of Convoy's Agility. I just got access to that today doing my Sector 4 run that you're watching right now, but because I only have this much of a budget to remove data discs, I'm not gonna touch it. Now, and it kind of also took away, besides data discs, it took away some of the testing fun. Sometimes I like to go into Conquest, remove my data disc, and test out characters without the data disc. However, again, now with budgeting problems, it's taken away that fun of me going in there. So that is one of the problems I have. And then, of course, deployable cooling systems, as Hermit the Droid pointed out in that comment. One of the nice things about deployable cooling systems is it made it easier to chase after a lot of feats. For example, getting 40 marks. That is extremely annoying without using the data disc. Of course, it's not impossible. It is possible. It just turns into a chore, relying on things like Jedi Knight Revan or Piet, or possibly relying on Grievous's marked mechanic. I think it just taking it out, took away some of the magic, and also just made it more difficult to chase after other feats that are in the game. So I think those are really the biggest initial concerns and complaints that I have that I just wanted to share and get off my chest. Of course, you guys can let me know otherwise. I think there's arguments for and against taking out deployable cooling systems inside the game. And then the other point is that randomness when it comes to the disc. Let me show you my gameplay that we have on the screen here. Let's take a look at we're gonna look at the end game account, the Kraken account that we have here. One of my biggest problems and concerns is the fact that when you take a look at, especially the data disc stockpile, at the very end of a sector, they're just so bland. They're so random. Here is one thing I think we can address in terms of the randomness. Fine, when you go across through the mid sector data disc stockpile, let them be a bit random. But I think another way to kind of address this situation is by allowing the Sector 4 end, or the end of Sector 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, allow you to pick any data disc that you want to kind of pair along with what you have. I think that would help out a lot, because a lot of the randomness is kind of causing some problems for a lot of people out there. And the same thing, let's pull up the other account. I mean, here we go. We're actually, the free-to-play account, we're doing all right. We're gonna get through a sector, might get through a little bit of Sector 2 here. But again, at the end of a sector, you would hope that you get something a little bit nicer. Well, none of these are really, I don't know, they're not really shaking my core. They're not getting me excited. You would think maybe you'd see more purple disc, although a lot of the purple discs I feel like are a little bit overrated inside this game. But nonetheless, I feel like we can maybe get some more targeted discs. You want to find something more specific, go ahead, have at it. You made it to the end of the sector, you deserve a little bit of a reward when you get to the end of the sector. So I feel like these data discs, we need to get back on track, making the experimental part of Conquest come back to life by either reducing the cost to remove data discs drastically, maybe one Conquest credit per removal, and trying to reduce the randomness and maybe giving you a little bit of a selection when you get to the end of sector. If anything, maybe fine, maybe not let you have pick any data disc, but instead of picking from 3, maybe 5 you get to choose, maybe pick out of 10, something so you get a little bit more variety in your run. And I think the other problems that I have here, the other thing I think is driving people crazy, especially since they took away quickening this this Conquest run right now, as we just got rid of deployable cooling systems. Quickening helped by overcoming the crazy amounts of turn meter that you might experience when it comes to a variety of these battle heroes. When you get the over-prepared situation, oh man, don't even get me started on Steadfast Retribution, but over-prepared, there is just simply too much guessing going on. And one of the worst feelings in this game, I think you guys remember, if you guys have done the Galactic Legend farm, when you farm Galactic Legends tickets and you drop a battle, for example, then you lose the tickets, it is not a very good feeling. It is one of the worst feelings you could possibly experience in this game. This is coming to a close second. Over-prepared or just souped up stats on these opponents that you go up against and them outrunning your Galactic Legends. It is very frustrating to just waste energy on a game of guessing. I'm hoping between the data disc selection and trying to give us some more transparency and a little bit more of a prediction of what is needed to overcome things like over-prepared, or even if there's not over-prepared, when you get to the later phases, these characters are just souped up out of their mind. Now, I don't want to say Conquest is impossible. It's unbearable. I'm going to get max crate perfectly fine on my account over here. That is not the complaint I'm putting out there. I'm just trying to make Conquest fun again, because this was a game mode I literally pretty much saw 98% of people praise this, and the 2% of people, they were just like, yeah, it's something new, it's something different. Didn't really find a lot of people who despised Conquest, but I feel like now we're seeing more and more people not enjoy Conquest nearly as much before, and I just think, again, it's the value of the Conquest shipment and the removal of the data discs costing a lot of currency. It's already going into a tiny budget that you're allotted, and the randomness of the data disc and the unpredictability when it comes to these characters. I feel like those are kind of some of the biggest problems that we have. I kind of want to wrap up this video in case you're curious, how am I doing this season? I'm going to show you both of my accounts, the Kraken account as well as the free-to-play account here. Right now, if you're asking what is my personal favorite data disc selection, it's more or less what we kind of faced before in previous seasons. If you guys are called before it got, I'm not going to say nerfed, it got, I'm certain we might see deployable cooling systems again one day. They're trying to keep things fresh by moving data discs around, and I'm not going to fault them for that. I think we can definitely live within Conquest without the need of deployable cooling systems. But, you know, we need to have more selection of data disk and remove the cost so we can experiment. I want to experiment with all these fun data disks. Like, I got convertibility, I want to use it. But anyways, here's what I'm using right now. More or less kind of the same thing as before. We are getting a data disc that gives us tons and tons of buffs, defensive buffs, offensive buffs, and then basically then we have stacking offense. So whenever we're gaining a buff, we're getting 5% offense. This is the closest thing I had to the same feeling almost of deployable cooling systems, watching my characters do absurd things. And the great thing about this set right here, by giving lots of buffs to your character and then getting stacking offense, is this helps all my characters, because some of these data discs I feel like are way too narrow and only benefiting a support or a healer character. This is what I think is going to help out a lot of people, because at least it helps you get through battles if you can take a turn. And of course, I wish I had the one that gave me turn meter when I had buffs in this account. However, I do have that over on the free-to-play account. I gotta say, being my first free-to-play Conquest, I have been enjoying. I really only have one good team, that being the First Order, and it looks like we should be on track to getting through Sector 1. And what I'm using right now when it comes to my data disc is kind of the same thing again. Using what I have, not a lot of complaints, because we did get the turn meter one right here, which is nice. Every time we're getting a buff, we're getting 2.5% turn meter in the First Order. Do get lots of buffs already. I'm waiting for the offensive or defensive buffs one. Haven't seen that. These I'm not too crazy about, but heal over time at least counts as a buff. Feeds turn meter to our team, and we got the stacking offense. But again, nothing that's making me say, wow, this is a lot of fun. And that's the most important thing. Difficulty, fine, that's one thing. But we need to bring back that feeling of enjoyment in Conquest, experimenting with different things. And I really think at the end of the day, it's simply just not making it free to swap out data discs is what's going to really make this game mode more of a chore and not as fun as it used to be. You know, but again, I'm passing the ball over to you guys. Let me know down below. Am I crazy? Am I going insane? You guys already know I am, but otherwise, you know what I mean. Are you enjoying Conquest as much as before? I think overall, even if you are enjoying Conquest as much as before, I kind of am. Not quite to the same level as before, but I am still enjoying it to an extent. I love chasing after a character. I think a lot of you guys can agree, even if you still are to the moon of Conquest, I think a lot of us can agree. We probably want to remove that cost for data disc and have a little bit more transparency when it comes to the speeds of the character. That's going to wrap it up for today. Just a little bit of a rant. I haven't ranted a lot lately. The game's been in a pretty good spot, but I just wanted to take this time to vent some of my concerns for the game mode, and I think a lot of you guys might share the same ones. Like, comment down below on all your thoughts, and be sure to subscribe so you're not missing a thing. And the most important thing, always remember, dang, it's great to be in the Empire today. I'll see you guys later. Garrett, roll out that outro.